Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my MLB FanDuel picks for Tuesday, May 30th. We've got a really big slate today. Got 14 games on today's slate. We have a ton of options. Pretty much every position is loaded with good guys up top. Got some good mid-range guys at every position and also some value plays at a lot of positions. So this should be a pretty fun slate. Got a ton of ways that you can attack it. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so looking at pitcher today, I think going for cash games, which is always the approach I take. I think you've got to play Chris Sale today. He is really expensive on FanDuel at $11,700, but I love this spot for him. It's going to be a revenge game for Sale. He's going to be going back to Chicago, back to the White Sox Stadium. If you all know, last year Chris Sale, he really didn't enjoy playing with the White Sox. I'm sure most of you remember he actually cut up one of their jerseys. I believe it was like a throwback jersey, just because he was so pissed at that team. That team they had no potential. They weren't getting into the postseason. So Chris Sale, he hated playing for that team. So I love this revenge game spot for Sale. I think he's going to go out and absolutely dominate. If you look at the matchup, it's actually not that good of a matchup. People might see the White Sox and think it's a good matchup, but the White Sox actually, they hit lefties very well, and they don't strike out a lot against lefties either. So far this year, they're only striking out 17% of the time versus lefties, and they hit lefties well, hitting a .302 average and a .365 WOBA. So this isn't a great matchup, but I just love this spot for Sale. If you look at Sale so far this year, he has just been so dominant. Last year when he was with the White Sox, he posted a 25% K rate, and so far this year with the Red Sox, he's up his K rate to 36.7%. He has just been absolutely dominating. If you look at his K per 9, that pretty much means for every 9 innings pitches, Sale has averaged 12 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. Sale has been so dominant this year, and if you look at his splits when it gets pulled up, Sale actually does better against righties, or he has so far this year. Righties have actually struggled to hit Chris Sale. So far versus righties this year, they're only hitting Chris Sale, or they're only hitting a 170 average versus him, and lefties are actually hitting a 194 average. So lefties have been doing better against Sale, so I think this is actually a pretty good spot for Chris Sale. If you add in the revenge game narrative, I think this is going to be a great game for Sale. This could be one of his best games so far this year. I'm easily expecting him to get over 10 strikeouts. I definitely think he's going to pitch deep into this game, at least 7 innings. Probably could shut out the White Sox, definitely. I love Chris Sale today. He's the top option by far. Even though he's very expensive at $11,700, if you're playing cash games today, even in tournaments, I don't think you want to fade Chris Sale. He has so much upside here. So I really like Chris Sale, top option today, and I'm going to be locking him in at $11,700. And since we did play Chris Sale, we're definitely going to be going for value with all my hitters. I'm going to give you guys all my hitters are going to be over 3,200. So we're going to be looking at value for pretty much all my hitters, or my 4 hitters. So starting off at catcher, there's a value guy I really like here. Hopefully he'll be in the lineup. And that's Chris Herrmann at just 2,200. Getting a matchup against a Von Nova. Nova is definitely a solid pitcher, but I just love Chris Herrmann's price tag today at just $2,200 on FanDuel. That is dirt cheap. That is close to the stone minimum. Chris Herrmann actually hits righties very well, so this is actually a pretty good spot for him. I'm hoping he's going to be in the lineup. If he is in the lineup, he should be batting about 5, 6, 7, which is pretty solid, and especially with that price tag. For him to really hit value for cash games, you're only going to need about 6 FanDuel points, which he can definitely do. Chris Herrmann does have pretty good power. He has already hit 5 home runs this year, and we've definitely seen a Von Nova struggle at times. So I really like Chris Herrmann today as someone that you can look at for catcher value, especially on FanDuel where he's just 2,200. I know on DraftKings his price is kind of up there. I think it's close to 4K on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I really like Chris Herrmann today. Probably one of my top value catchers. If he is in the starting lineup, he is definitely a guy that I'm going to be considering today. Just 2,200. Second base, we're going to be getting some exposure to the Coors game here. We're going to be looking at DJ LeMahieu, just 3,200, playing in Coors. This is such a good spot for LeMahieu. It's going to be getting the platoon advantage today against Ariel Miranda. DJ LeMahieu does hit lefties very well, so he's going to be a second baseman that I'm looking at today, especially on FanDuel, again, where he's just really cheap. FanDuel, they definitely don't do pricing that well. DJ LeMahieu should not be 3,200 against a lefty in Coors. That is just too cheap. So I'm really liking him at second base. If I'm attacking the mid-range of second base, he is going to be a guy that I'm considering. He's just an overall great hitter, especially against lefties. He does hit lefties very well. Now, LeMahieu, he has definitely been inconsistent as of late. He hasn't really been producing. In his last 4 games, he's only put up 6, 0, 6, and 9 FanDuel points. But this is just such a good spot, going up against the lefty, playing at home in Coors, and giving in the price tag. I really like DJ LeMahieu today as someone that you can target at second base for just $3,200. And if you're playing on FanDuel and you want to get some cheap exposure to the Coors game, I like doing that with DJ LeMahieu with his cheap price tag. Then at outfield, I'm going to be going for two more hitters here. First off, I really like Cole Calhoun today. Just 2,900, getting a matchup against Bartolo Colon. With Mike Trout out of the lineup now, Cole Calhoun should be batting upwards in the order. Right now, as I'm recording this video, their projected lineup, Cole Calhoun is projected to bat second, which is a great spot for him going up against Bartolo Colon. Colon has just been absolutely terrible this year. He's given up close to a 7 ERA. So I like the Angels as a sneaky stack today. People probably won't stack them just because it's such a big slate and because the Angels don't really have a bunch of really attractive options on their team. But I like going with Cole Calhoun if you want to get some exposure to that offense because I definitely think they're going to be able to put up runs today. So I like Cole Calhoun at just 2,900, someone you can target at value on outfield. Calhoun has definitely really been inconsistent as of late. In his last 4 games, he's only put up 6, 3, 3, and 9 FanDuel points. But I just love this spot for him going up against Bartolo. Like I said, Bartolo's just been absolutely terrible this year. He just throws every pitch right down the middle. I expect Cole Calhoun to have a solid game today. Might even have a chance to go deep. Bartolo will definitely give up home runs. So I like Cole Calhoun today. Someone you can target from that Angels offense. Just 2,900. Then my final outfield value play is going to be Chris Young today at just 2,500, going up against the lefty, going up against Jose Quintana. Now, the matchup against Jose Quintana isn't that great. Quintana is actually a pretty solid pitcher, but I just love Chris Young's price tag on FanDuel at just 2,500. If you're playing sale today, you're going to need value hitters, so I really like Chris Young today. It's someone that you can look at for value. Right now, as I'm recording this video, the Red Sox implied lineup, Chris Young is implied to bat cleanup. If he does bat cleanup versus the lefty, he's going to be a value play that I'm going to consider. Although Quintana is a solid pitcher, I'm really liking Chris Young today just based on the price tag, and he does hit lefties very well, and since he's projected to bat cleanup, this is a really good spot for him. So he's a value play that I'm going to be considering at outfield. Just 2,500. You're really going to need these cheap value plays if you want to play Chris Sale today, which is something I highly recommend. So I like Chris Young as a value play that you can target at outfield at just 2,500. And yeah, so these are my top 5 plays for tonight, guys. I went with Chris Sale, Chris Herrmann, DJ LeMahieu, Cole Calhoun, and Chris Young. Got 3 Chris's in my top 5 plays. And now I'm going to give you guys some other players that you can roster at each position. So for all you DraftKings players, I'm going to give you other pitchers that you can consider for your SP2 spot. Now, for those of you that don't want to pay up for Chris Sale, I don't think that's a really smart option, but if you don't want to pay up for Sale and you still want to get a stud ace on your team, I think Justin Verlander is in play versus Kansas City. Kansas City's just been so bad this year, so I like Verlander. Also like Luis Severino as a tournament play against Baltimore. Baltimore definitely strikes out a lot against righties, so I like Severino. He is in play. And also like Robbie Ray up top. Those are 3 guys I think you could pay up for if you don't want to go all the way to the top for Sale, but I'm definitely recommending Chris Sale today. He's the top option in my opinion. And then for all of you that play on DraftKings that need an SP2, I think Jose Barrios is in play. He's been so dominant this year. This isn't a great matchup going up against the Astros. But with the way Barrios has pitched this year, I definitely think he is in play. And he's also really cheap on DraftKings as well. I think he's like close to 7K. So I definitely think Jose Barrios is in play. And then if you need a really cheap SP2 option to pair with Chris Sale, I do like Eddie Butler over on DraftKings. He's just 5,400, I think, which is very cheap. If you play him and Sale, I really like that combo. So I definitely think Eddie Butler is in play going up against the Padres. The Padres have just been so bad against righties this year. So I like Eddie Butler as an SP2 option. Some catchers that I like today, besides Chris Herrmann. Up top, I like Alex Avila. Then I also like Salvador Perez. Perez has insane BVP versus Justin Verlander, so I really like Salvador Perez with his BVP against Verlander. First base, paying up top, I really like Mark Reynolds against the lefty in Coors. I definitely think he is in play. Like Logan Morrison, and then if you need a value play at first base, I like Lucas Duda. Second base, if you're paying up top, I love Brian Dozier today, going up against Mike Fiers. If there's one thing that Fiers struggles with, it's giving up home runs to righties, so I really like Brian Dozier. He does hit righties pretty well. Towards the mid-range at second base, I like D. Gordon. And if you need a value play at second base, I like Rougned Odor, and then also like LeMahieu at the mid-range. At third base, if you're paying up top, I really like Miguel Sano against Mike Fiers. Like I said, Fiers really struggles to give up home runs to righties. I definitely like the 2-man stack of Dozier and Sano. That 2-man stack does give you a ton of upside. I could definitely see both of them hitting home runs today against Mike Fiers. So I like paying up for Dozier and Sano at second base and third base. If you need a mid-range third base play, I like Evan Longoria. And if you need a value play at third base, I like Travis Shaw. If you're paying up at shortstop, like Gene Segura versus the lefty in Coors, I think Segura is probably the top shortstop play today. If you need a mid-range shortstop play, I like Didi Gregorius. Gregorius does have really good BVP against Chris Tillman, so I like Didi at shortstop mid-range. And if you need a value play at shortstop, I like Andrelton Simmons. And then at outfield, probably the top play today, in my opinion, is definitely Nelson Cruz against the lefty in Coors. I think you're going to want to try and jam in Cruz into your lineup. It's definitely going to be really hard with Chris Sale, but if you can find plenty of value, I love Nelly Cruz today. He's definitely the top overall bat, in my opinion, top hitter on the slate versus the lefty in Coors. I expect him to have a terrific game. Also up top in outfield, I like Jay Bruce. If you need some more value plays at outfield, I like Kevin Pillar, and I like Colby Rasmus, and then I like Calhoun and Chris Young as well for value at outfield. And yeah, so there's some other picks that I like at each position. You guys can use my top 5 plays. Use some of those picks that I gave. You guys can build a lineup out of that. I left you over 3,100. After you plug in these 5 guys, you have over 3,100 remaining per player, which you can definitely work around, find a couple value plays that you like, or maybe use some of my value plays that I gave and build a lineup out of that. Or if you want to get my lineups, then be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. My lineups are $5 a day, or you can get a week of lineups for $25. So message me on Twitter if you are interested in that. I also do post all my results on Twitter, so if you don't want to buy lineups, you just want to see how my lineups are doing, you can also follow me on Twitter as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. If this is your first time on my channel, please be sure to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I do upload these videos pretty much every day, so I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. And if you never want to miss out on any videos, please be sure to click the bell icon next to my YouTube name. That'll actually notify you every time I upload, so if you never want to miss out on any videos, you can do that, guys. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
I'ma tell you straight up, I'ma come through and I'ma rock your world, man. You gon' have to comb your hair, comb your hair, comb your hair. Hey, I show up to your spot around 3:30. Been smoking all night, out drinking 40s.